Hi. How are you? Good. Okay, it's fine. It's good.
Who is she the one who introduced?
Yeah, Irene.
It was very good.
Irene.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's the one. They're giving you the mic.
So we go and
Okay.
Now we have to.
I have to open.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Come.
Okay.
Come. I want
Huh? Sorry.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be anywhere?
Yes,
Oh,
come,
good.
come.
Oh, yeah,
Come.
very good.
You're supporting the ears. Please come.
Yeah. Where is? She's there. Okay.
Come.
Good.
Come. Wait. No, they're not coming. Are they coming? No, they're not. This is stuff. Yes, we are.
So I
Just
take
hand
this or
behind,
this
you have
one?
to
This
support
one?
This one is stationary.
The ears.
I pick this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm
So?
going to introduce you.
Okay.
I'm
Very good.
going to just say one, two, three things, then I'm going to have a look. Okay, the ambassadors have come.
Yeah. Very good.
You need to turn this on.
You have to use this one.
Ah, this one, huh?
Yes.
Just 1 minute.
Doctor, you have to measure my blood pressure. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Should I start?
Yeah, of course.
Are we ready?
What's the name of this thing in Amharic? Huh?
Okay, we are silence. I see. Good afternoon. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here at the ECA Expo. On behalf of Nita Dipal Singh, who could not be with us today, I want to heartily welcome you here to the ECA Expo. My name is Irene Onyancha, and I am the Chief of the Knowledge Management Services section. The ECA Expo has two overall objectives. The first objective is to complement the annual program planning review to provide a platform in which we can celebrate publicly our achievements and also have an interactive space in which we can know what each one of us is doing, but also share our work with the public. The second objective is to have a knowledge fair. We all know that as a United Nation, our core asset is knowledge. Everything that we do culminates to a knowledge product, be it a publication, be it a photo. So here we are going to display the various activities, the various knowledge products that represent our work program. With this, few remarks. I want to welcome you again to the ECA Expo. We have booths from both the substantive divisions and also from the service, our service pillar, so that you can see that the service pillar, without the service pillar, the substantive cannot also work. So with these few remarks, I want to welcome our Executive Secretary AI, Mr. Antonio Pedro, to come and give an opening remark and also to open the Expo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irene. This is one of the proudest moments, for me at least, at ECA. I've joined ECA in 2001, so almost 21 years ago. And this moment is really about us creating a space for everyone. It's about celebrating our work. It's, what's the word, is mesop in Amharic, is that bowl that we put the food where everyone can eat together. So, Your Excellencies, ambassadors, we're very, very happy that you are here to celebrate with us our work. We are working in a very dynamic landscape, politically, economically, socially, technologically, and environmentally. The world in general, and the African continent in particular, is continuously faced with new and complex challenges and opportunities, as reflected in the effects of climate change, with new diseases, unpredictable weather patterns, the geopolitical tensions, with ramifications in food, energy, and financial crisis, with population dynamics, rapidly aging populations in developed economies versus rapidly increasing young unemployed population in the developing countries, with increased market opportunities and very, very complex situations and challenges to manage, with technological advancement, digitalization of the economy, which could represent, as it was clear during the pandemic, a low-hanging fruit for regional integration and for harnessing the demographic dividend on the continent, utilizing all the creative potential of our young people to create innovative solutions which are context-specific, responding to the imperatives of development on the continent. New investment opportunities. We're just coming from COP27, where, among other things, we've announced the opportunities that exist on the continent for us to create carbon credit markets, for us to deploy renewable energy and provide solutions for the energy transitions to the rest of the world. Pharmaceuticals. We have invested during COVID-19 into demonstrating the opportunities that exist in Africa for us to locate part of the pharmaceutical value chain, which calls again for innovative ways of incentivizing different value chain actors, such as the private investors, producers, and consumers. We are very proud and always make reference to the DRC Africa Business Forum and the opportunities that we've sort of basically opened up for the localization of the battery and electric vehicle value chain on the continent, creating huge opportunities for value creation and jobs. New vehicles to make trade and investments within the continent and between the continent and the global work seamlessly, as the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, our Marshall Plan. So the shifting geopolitical alignments on the continent present new forms of partnerships, so we can be smart in managing what is happening in the world of today and in the world of tomorrow. So this calls for us to try and redefine what's our value proposition, what is ECA's strategic role as these needs evolve, as the challenges multiply. What is it that we can offer as solutions to help our continent, our member states, to navigate all of this space, and in the process achieving sustained development goals and, of course, Agenda 2063. So this complexity and dynamism of the opportunities and challenges facing the continent present a further challenge for decision makers tasked with formulating strategies and policies that effectively address interconnected and interdependent problems. Few contemporary challenges can be confined to one policy area, and that single issue focus in many instances is insufficient. We need to be able to understand what are the dynamic interrelationship between all of those issues. And again, as I said earlier, offer solutions to that. We need to acknowledge that the continent's demands are increasingly becoming more complex in nature and will require new sets of skills and forms of partnerships. And this is why this Expo becomes important. We have a couple of young fellows with us. Some of us, unfortunately, will have to leave us, but I hope that in the course of their stay here with us, they would have harnessed a little bit of those dynamics and prepare themselves better to respond to the challenges as I enumerated earlier. The dynamism and complexity of the landscape calls for the need to develop new sets of skills to address new sets of challenges and turn the challenges to opportunities, as I mentioned earlier. And this, of course, is happening within the context of the Secretary General Common Agenda and his quintet of change that calls for the creation of a UN that is fitter for purpose. In our case, an ECA which is fitter for purpose. So the UN 2.0 quintet for change underscores the need for a paradigm shift in the ways of doing things to be able to meet our clients' needs in the 21st century. And our clients, our member states, our regional institutions, including the African Union, the regional economic communities, and the world out there, which is also looking for a better understanding of how to invest in Africa, how to engage in Africa. That's the space in which we have to operate. So these areas include data analysis and communication, innovation and digital transformation, strategic foresight, performance and results orientation, and behavioral science. Just a couple of weeks ago or days ago, we had Internet Governance Forum here, which again represents an opportunity, but it comes with serious challenges, which again we need to master. The value of futures thinking and foresight programs as long-term planning tools in strategic policy making is becoming critical, particularly in the development context of most of our member states and beyond. I was privileged to have participated in the Mediterranean dialogues, which the Italian government invited ECA to participate. And one of the conversations there was indeed the world of today, the challenges of the migratory flows from Africa to the North Mediterranean shores, Europe, and so on. And our argument was that if these challenges today are very difficult to manage, what about in 2050, when Africa will have about 2.5 billion people? If those 2.5 billion people, of which the majority are young people, don't find employment opportunities on the continent, they will have to migrate. How will the world manage that flow of many people going northwards? So those are the issues that we are confronted with today. We need to be cognizant of the dynamism in the financial landscape brought about the financial liberalization, technological changes, and market innovation, which require a new set of skills beyond the traditional macroeconomic modeling. Our clients will require a dynamic framework to help them understand and plan for the changes occurring in the financial landscape. We, as you know, are calling for a review of the global financial architecture, which was designed to respond to the post-World War II, and which perhaps is not fit for purpose in the context of all of these challenges that I enumerated earlier. To improve uptake of new investment opportunities among member states, included innovative financing mechanisms, fiscal policy reforms, and regional integration, robust evidence of what works for each country is critical to adapt innovations to each country's context. During our APPR meetings this week, we have gone through some of these issues already. We had presentations of our regional integration division that was where we were discussing, among other things, the potential to generate and promote regional value chains. We make reference to the extraordinary African Union Summit on economic sustainable industrialization and economic diversification. and the mandate that was given to ECA to support the implementation of the outcomes of the summit, including supporting the champion, the president of Niger. How are we going to utilize existing instruments to make sure that Africa can industrialize and diversify its economy sustainable? Investment decisions are needed in risk mitigation strategies, such as weather indexes, insurance, climate information services, and short-term adaptation strategies, such as target social protection programs. Some of our studies have indicated that, for example, because of our vulnerability, the number of people that have gone to the poverty bucket have increased. 55 million more more Africans went to the lowest quartile of poor people. And that is a situation that will become a new normal if we do not address the fundamentals that are driving these people to poverty. The need for new and strengthened partnerships to address new complex and interconnected challenges and harness opportunities presented by this challenge. We are very, very happy that you are here and you could potentially be creators of the solutions that we need for the future. So we are in partnerships. We are not only looking at financial resources, but partnerships with your think tanks, so that indeed we collaborate into designing those solutions. So we need to forge new partnerships to bring in other players, including private investors and civil society, while striving to strengthen existing ones. We are very happy with the level of collaboration that we have already with the development banks. For example, Afrexim Bank was a key partner for us in looking at solutions during COVID, from the ATEX to AVAT and so on and so forth. We need more of those so that we can reach the last mile. We don't want to leave anyone behind. We must embrace innovative and disruptive thinking to provide practical solutions to real-life challenges affecting our member states, now and in the future. Knowledge sharing and open dialogue with our esteemed clients are some ways of nurturing collaborative innovation. Internally, we need to be cognizant of cross-cutting issues that require interdependence and collective responsibility. We've started these discussions already. What will be the ECA of today and tomorrow? Fitter for purpose. What are the kinds of dynamic interrelationship between and among our different divisions and sub-regional offices, so that we can indeed maximize all the human capital that we have here. So now let me land on Expo 2022. Irene already has indicated what's the objective. So the context that I've shared with you before was really just to indicate to you how important this Expo is. So this year's ECA Expo, which is the first one of its kind, is organized to address 4 interconnected objectives. First, to showcase ECA's work, with a view to forging new partnerships and strengthening existing ones within and outside the organization, to enable us to serve our clients effectively in a rapidly changing and complex environment. Celebrate ECA's achievements in the past 3 years while identifying potential areas of synergy where ECA can leverage on internally and externally to improve efficiency and effectiveness in its 5 strategic areas of focus. And when you move around, you will learn more about what are those 5 strategic areas of focus. These are dynamics. We will take into consideration the changing environment and the refining which we may need to do with the view to being fitter for purpose, respond better to the new imperatives. We are looking for you to also provide feedback on our areas of work now and the areas that require improvement, with a view to delivering better focused services that respond to the complexity and dynamism of the environment and the paradigm shifts that I mentioned earlier. We need to utilize this to institutionalize an evaluation approach. So we do our own, we have our monitoring evaluation systems, but there is nothing better than engaging with our partners and with those that will be visiting around our stands and hear from you exactly how you perceive our work. What are the things that need to be changed so that, again, we become fitter for purpose? The Expo, which will run for 3 consecutive days, starting from today, will showcase diverse products, tangible and non-tangible, from divisions and sub-regional offices. These are products that span 3 years of hard work from dedicated ECA staff and our strategic partners within and outside the continent. Some of the things that made us very happy this time around was that for the last 3 years or so, we have done these APPR sessions virtually. This is the first time that we came together, and you cannot imagine the joy that we could witness in the faces of everyone to be able to engage and meet with colleagues that we otherwise were contacting virtually. The divisions and sub-regional offices will showcase achievements in diverse areas, ranging from innovative financing mechanisms to bridge the climate finance gap, fiscal and monetary policy reforms to respond to the tightening fiscal space and address debt vulnerability, legal, institutional, and policy reforms to foster private sector engagement in the energy infrastructure, agribusiness, to name a few. Young Economists Network, launched in 2021 to institutionalize macroeconomic modeling within the member states and co-create solutions for the problems of our member states. Interventions to bridge the digital divide between the rich and the poor, men and women, the young and old, to mention but a few. I wish to call upon participants, internal and external, attending the Expo virtually or in person, to take advantage of this timely opportunity to interact with ECA's work, which are at different stages of completion. I'm confident that the exhibitors will provide participants with the necessary details on their achievements, best practices, and challenges to enable them to identify areas requiring strengthened collaboration and further improvement so that no one on the continent is left behind. I would like to reiterate that this is a must-attend event for both internal and external partners because the benefits of participating in the event are innumerable. So, Your Excellencies, please be our ambassadors and invite your colleagues to come here in the course of these 3 days to see and engage on our work and give us the feedback that we need. I wish to conclude by thanking the Secretariat at ECA that made the idea of having the ECA Expo 2022 come to fruition. Your undeterred efforts deserve accolades. Thank you very much.
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Then
Your Excellencies, yes, this is a representation of the workforce of ECA, right from our dear cleaners who make it possible for us to be in our offices, and all other directors, all to the echelon of power. I just want to say that thank you so much. We want to thank those who made it possible, Carolina and Tim, and Iman and Tim, who made this possible. All of us here, plus the directors, have put a lot of effort to make sure that the Expo is what it is today. Now, with those few remarks, I think we are going to open the Expo, and then we'll walk through the giant timeline just to give an overview of ECA work over the past 3 years.
But before we do that, I'm so sorry. I would like to recognize Irene's role in this. She fought all sorts of institutional barriers and so on and so forth for us to be able to be at this day today. Thank you, Irene. Thank you very much. Oh, this way. Okay, good. So we cut together?
no,
So?
it's you to cut.
I said so. Huh? The ambassadors. Exactly, that's what I said. I mean, then. See, which way? This way? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Good. Thank you. So we declare the exhibition open. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much again. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again, thank you for coming. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We just want to have an overview of the giant timeline. Represented here through the SDGs. Here we have 9 sub-programs, and our work is done through the core functions of think tank, convening and operations. And as you walk through, we talked about the core asset of the United Nations being the knowledge products. And here we have represented that we call moments that represent our achievements over the last 3 years through what we call convening. We see a lot of pictures from the conferences, the workshops. We have publications. We say that our core asset and the comparative advantage is our publications. And then, of course, we have quotes, because today knowledge comes in various forms. Okay. Yes. So we are going to walk you through so that we can be able to see the giant timeline that gives a bird's eye view of the achievements of the last 3 years. So, yes.
Okay, good, thank you. I know the work. Okay, thank you. So good.
Do you think we want?
No, sorry.
We just wanted to just walk through.
Okay.
Okay, for 2020, as you can see, we were able to start very early with our staff union at a town hall, and we went towards having different activities. Most important, the AFRSD that happened in early 2020. But as you notice, in 2020, there was what we call the pandemic. And this changed the way we worked. If you notice, we have a lot of, as you go along the photos, our work became virtual. So you can see that we have a lot of our pictures representing our work in our virtual, in a virtual environment. And these are the publications that we have. Here you can see that the director of sport realized the importance of us adapting to the new environment and changing and talking about ECA changing its environment to support the COVID pandemic. So we go around to ensure that, as you can see, these are the various products that we see in 2020, which moves us to 2021. In 2021, we still had the pandemic, and a lot of work was still virtual. The blurbs represent some of the quotes of our staff and from different dignitaries that have said something that is very important to the work of ECA. So as we go across 2021, we still continue to see our work still in a virtual environment, and you can still see our work represented in form of infographics, in quotes, and the photos. And this progresses on to 2022, and as you can see further down, in going towards 2021 and early 2022, the work started to normalize and coming back to the office. So if you see here, we see now that there are less masks in the photos, and a lot of work is being done. And we highlight our publications. These are not the only publications, but we highlight the moments of our knowledge products. Now, going this way, you can notice that in 2022, there is a lot of the bubbles filled because there were a lot of events which we were able to attend physically. So this gives our overview for the last 3 years of the work and achievements. Action.
where we felt that you cannot go away without taking a photo behind the expo. So please, after. Here? Yes, with the colleagues. Colleagues, could you please come? Let's have a group photo.
We take a photo and then we go.
Yeah.
Let's start with the middle here.
Good, sir.
Oh.
We know what
Sir?
are the countries represented here.
Okay. Well,
We know so that we can.
What did you say?
huh?
In
Sir?
the middle.
Huh? In the middle? This is the middle?
Divisions in ECA, but we are proud of the massive amount of work that we have done. The staff of the division is here with me. We have 3 sections. The Innovative Finance and Capital Market section, the Energy, Infrastructure and Services section. We also have the Agriculture and Business Enabling Environment section. In one word, the objective of this division is to crowd in private sector investment in the area of agriculture, infrastructure, meaning energy and transport. We have displayed some of our key achievements in the past 3 years. These have been in the form of publications that we have done. What we try to do is to provide the information to inform policy on the continent. And one of the biggest things that we've done in that regard is to look at the implications of the continental free trade area for transport. So we have quantified how many trucks, how many airplanes, how many ships we would need to achieve the continental free trade area. Today we heard also the work that we've done in land policies. How are we taking down the land policy of the African Union to the level of the regional economic communities? We explained today how we have built the capacity of the East African communities and member states in regard to policies of the African Union. We've had key achievements, and I will just mention three. One, we all know how difficult it is to connect in Africa. For some of you, to come from one African country to another, you have to fly through Europe, and that's why ECA has been very closely involved in the liberalization of air transport market on the continent. We started in 1998. Today, we have moved to the single African air transport market. But people are still frustrated that it's not being implemented. That's why ECA, we have developed key performance indicators to measure the extent to which African countries are liberalizing air transport on the continent. And we have just used those key performance indicators to measure the performance of Cameroon, Cape Verde, and Rwanda. Based on that, we've developed action plans to help those countries to better liberalize air transport. I'm pleased to inform you that we are using the variable geometry. We understand that not all African countries will liberalize air transport, so 17 African countries now have agreed that they would pilot the liberalization of air transport. If you just come with me for 1 minute, I will show you some of the things.
Perhaps before that, you'd like to ask a question to him, perhaps? Yeah.
No,
Just a mic.
no.
No,
It's
very clear. Very clear. Are you sure?
Very clear, yes.
All right. I just want to show you for 1 minute what we are doing. One key achievement is the active land governance programs that we have established at the continental and the REX level, which I just explained. Also, in terms of deepening interbank markets on the continent, we've done that in Uganda, and we are seeing requests coming from across the continent. Recently, we saw a request going to the ES to come and support Guinea. Here you can see our flagship publications over the here. This is work that we are doing in electricity sector. We've reviewed the electricity markets, the regulatory environment in 16 African countries, including Ethiopia, in Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, and so on and so forth. With this information, we can provide better technical assistance and advisory services to member states how to crowd in private sector in the electricity market. If you just come out here, I will show you some of our publications. This year, February, the African Business Forum was on investing in multimodal transport to better achieve the objectives of the continental free trade area. And so you can see the publication that we put out. We have the investment opportunities in roads, air, maritime that can be achieved. You can see our publications in land policy, agriculture, energy, and you are welcome to ask any questions. I understand that we are running
5 minutes.
out of time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we go there, no? Okay.
So we're going
how are
to
you?
the next
Fine, thank you.
booth.
Okay.
All participants, please, we want to welcome some of you to come right in to the booth. Colleagues, excellencies, please, you're welcome. The door is open.
Quando era criança, morei pertinho da fronteira de Uruguai e Brasil. Eu posso falar português?
Sim. Porque no Uruguai algumas pessoas
Okay, so,
falam bem português.
Especialmente na fronteira.
Na fronteira.
Excellencies, distinguished representatives, my colleagues, yes, of course, everyone here present, you are welcome to the booth of the Gender, Poverty and Social Policy Division. This is a division that covers a very wide portfolio of issues. We are 2 sub-programs, and I must say that we cover some of the most critical areas of policy priority in the continent, especially in the present moment. We know that in the context of overlapping global crisis, the effects of shocks, we really are seeing what is happening at the level of human development, people. We see it all around us, increasing poverty, widening inequality, population dynamics which could be an asset, yet pose significant challenges in the continent, extremely rapid urban growth and urbanization in the continent. Our cities are booming and growing. All of these have extremely important implications for where the continent wants to go, plans to go, and where the continent will reach over the next coming decades. So under this sub-program, we deal with critical questions, importantly also, of course, gender equality, which I cannot emphasize enough. We have seen in the context of recent crisis, once again, unfortunately, the highest price was paid by women and girls. One more time. This is unacceptable. It's time to move the dial. It's time to make a real difference for the women and girls of this continent. I have said very often, when we talk about Agenda 2063, when we talk about the SDGs, every single day, women are delivering development, delivering the SDGs, delivering Agenda 2063 for each and every one of us, in our communities, in our countries, in our societies. It is time to make a real change and a real difference for the women and girls of this continent, of course supported by men and boys of the continent. So all of these are really important questions of the past, of today, and the future. And this division covers all these policy agendas. Like everywhere else at ECA, what do we do? How do we work with member states? How do we support our member states? Of course, we continue to develop new evidence, new data, new insights on emerging trends, on the current status, and of course, the prospects for the future. Secondly, we work directly with our member states in terms of improving the design, implementation, monitoring of policies, actions, strategies in these very critical areas. We also work a lot, especially with the African Union, regional economic communities, and our countries to advocate for these important policy questions and priorities in the continent. In our booth, we have displayed some of our recent work over the last 3 years. We invite all of you to watch the videos that we have, short videos that really demonstrate the critical importance of the questions of today. We are looking at women's entrepreneurship. We know who is leading entrepreneurship in the continent. Women, exactly. So we have produced a very interesting report on women's entrepreneurship. We also have a video on why cities matter, why urbanization is important. We all live in cities. We know the challenges, but we know that cities are the future. We all have all these videos to demonstrate the work that we are doing. We have also illustrated so many of our products and publications, and we have more information on each of the areas of work. So let me conclude by saying that if we really need or want development to be people-centered, human-focused, if we want to avoid the continued erosion of the basic social contract between people and governments, between people and stakeholders, we have to stay focused on improved human outcomes, human development outcomes for all Africans today and in the future. And this is one of the divisions that is delivering on that. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Edla. And now
staff health is our #1 priority. Lead by example, so sorry. So the clinic offers, can you hear me? Okay. Sorry, yes. The clinic offers many specialty services. We're open 24/7. I'll not go into all details of the services because of lack of time, but some of our new services, we have a cardiology, a professor in cardiology from Addis Ababa University who offers cardiology services twice a week, and the cardiology service is fully equipped. We also have a kidney specialist who comes once a week. As you know, in the African continent now, kidney failure in young adults is becoming very common. The cause is not very clear. So prevention is better than kidney treatment. So we encourage all our staff members to visit our nephrology services, their checkup. Another area of concern for the clinic is the mental health. A recent survey was done, an interagency survey amongst 750 UN staff. They found out that around 43% of them have mental health issues, whether it's stress or burnout, depression, so this is a serious concern for the organization at all and needs to be addressed. We have many services that we provide in our 24 hours service that we provide. The COVID pandemic has also affected the UN community. We provided different services, including clinical care, testing, as well as vaccination. Recently, the Ethiopian Publication Institute has made available the data, which shows that the COVID cases in Addis are slightly on the rise. This is also what we're seeing in our compound in the last 2 weeks. We have the booster vaccination, the Moderna, which we advertised since last week. So we encourage all our staff members to come and get the vaccination. The clinic offers a lot of wellness activities. We have full medical checkup for both males and females. So we encourage staff members to do their medical checkup, but we also focus on 4 numbers. So we have the Know Your Numbers campaign. So individuals need to know their body mass index, blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar at the minimum. So these are all silent killers, so we want staff members to have their checkup. We also do workstation assessments. So because of poor workstation assessment, musculoskeletal problems are very common in individuals who stay in the office and work for long hours. So we always recommend to staff members to call the clinic for a workstation assessment so that we have a proper setup of their chair, their computer table, and so on, so that they avoid neck problem, back ache, wrist problem, knee joint problem. Okay, I think it's the mic, but another very important service that the clinic gives nowadays is training on basic life support and first aid. We are certified by the European Resuscitation Council to provide basic life support and first aid trainings. These trainings can be given for any individual. As part of the emergency preparedness, ECA has put automatic defibrillators in all the floors. So we need staff members to be trained because they cannot wait for medical professionals. If somebody collapses, then individuals need to start CPR. They need to call the clinic, at the same time start CPR until the medical providers arrive. This way we'll save lives. Otherwise, every second which is lost without resuscitating a person who has collapsed means poor outcome for individuals. So we also want the organization to sponsor CPR trainings for staff members from each floor, at least minimum 2 or 4 from each floor, so that we have providers which can resuscitate individuals. Our last booth is, so this shows all the new equipment which was bought by ECA to upgrade the clinic services. For example, this is our ophthalmology. This is our hearing test. The patient is myself, but this is our hearing test, which can be done for newborn, preschool children, as well as adults. Our radiology unit has also been upgraded with the latest technology. This is our COVID testing services. Our COVID machine, which was bought by ECA, also checks for different viruses like HIV, hepatitis, flu virus. This is our brand new ambulance. We could not bring the vehicle here, so instead we brought our patient and our stretcher. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
So this is what we can do in our advanced ambulance. Somebody who really have a life-threatening emergency, whether it's trauma or whether somebody needs life support, we can safely transport a patient from our workplace towards a hospital or air ambulance by using this our advanced ambulance, which is equipped with all the latest technology that we have anywhere else in the world. So this is again sponsored by ECA. So we have had this ambulance for the last couple of months now. So this ends our presentation. Thank you. Any questions?
My sincere apologies that we only have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you.
Yes, now we are moving to the regional.
How the Regional Integration and Trade Division have been accompanying the continent in the quest for an African continental free trade area. I'm going to hand over the mic to Yinka, who has curated our stand, to give everyone a quick walkthrough. Yinka, the mic is yours.
Okay, you have to speak loud. Hey,
welcome
how are you? Good.
I would want to welcome you to our thing again, where, of course, as you know, our major work these days now is AFCFTA. But it will be unfair for me to just to take over this thing, because some of my colleagues have been asked to do the presentations to you based on what they are working on. National strategies across Africa, which is why our colleague here is here, and Jacqueline is based in Uganda. Maybe I will just hand over to her. Yeah.
Thank you, Yinka. As we can start from this side, this is an illustration of how we have supported the development of the FCFTA and the Secretariat and the AUC. It just shows the progression of the different publications that have fed into the AFCFTA different aspects, the other processes. And we are still, we're also landmarking the different initiatives and goals. This is also showing some of the projections of the FCFTA in 2045 for production, trade, and also employment. One of the main things we've done also is in support for the SMS, medium and small enterprises. These are the justification. In informal trade, we have a big portfolio for gender. This is the one of the other main areas we do is supporting in the implementation of development of the AFCFTA implementation strategies for countries. We have supported so far 26 countries that have validated over 40 countries. Actually, currently we're having a Somalia consultation meeting upstairs. We work together with all of our sub-regional offices on the continent to do that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, yes. Would you like to speak?
Perhaps just to add that in addition to the stand, we have the AFCFTA agreement launch in Amharic upstairs in CR1. Right now, we're inviting everyone to please join us. This is one of the milestones and legacies of our work as we accompany the continent on the AFCFTA quest. Yes, would you have any questions for us?
No. I would like to come here because I was here when we started this exercise in 2004, a little bit earlier. So it is good to see that the foundations for empirical work on the state of regional integration have beared fruit into translating all of those Abuja Treaty fundamentals for building the Africa Economic Community into the CFTA and hopefully the Customs Union soon. I'd like to congratulate you for your work, for being the, how do you call it, standard, what is the name? The ones that carry the torch moving forward. Yeah. You see, I'm already thinking of the life after ACA.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, how are you? Fine. How are you, sir? Fine.
How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Welcome. DG Delma from Somalia.
All right, yes, pleasure. Okay, thank you. Thank you, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Sonia Pedro, ECA. Good, thank you. Hello, hi. They have to speak loud.
Hello, so welcome to you all to the booth of ECA Sub-Regional Office for Eastern Africa. Eastern Africa is one of the most dynamic provide one of the most dynamic economy in Africa. The sub-region has been growing at the fastest rate in the entire continent for a decade and over that. So and how is this economy faring actually? It's not that much endowed with minerals or with forest resources, but rather with agricultural resources and also with tourism resources. And several of those countries are landlocked. So what we're trying to do is to help them develop and grow based on their natural endowment. Trade and regional integration is really paramount for this region, and we try to help them to really foster that and making an engine of growth and development. Our areas of focus are trade, regional integration, tourism, and blue economy. Blue economy also because we have several coastal countries. And what do? We try to engage with countries. We go to countries and we try to understand what is preventing them from trading, and we try to work with them to remove those obstacles and to really contribute to intra-regional trade. In that, we have supported several countries in providing themselves with national AFCFTA strategies or to implement them. In this category, we went recently to Comoros to engage with them, and the engagement was at the highest level. We had a sensitization workshop. It was attended by the President of the Republic and by the President of the National Assembly. They came and interrogated why they should join the AFCFTA. After that, we organized a sensitization event that was also attended by more than 10 MPs, discussing with the Minister of Economy, why are you saying that we should ratify, we should start operating under the AFCFTA. Organization of consumers, private sector organization discussing and convincing themselves, and at the end of that process they have accepted to really validate the AFCFTA strategy that we have accompanied them to do together. Similarly, today we have in our premises a delegation from Somali. They are really interested in ECA support. We are providing them a technical assistance in AFCFTA strategy. With accession to WTO, and also we've put it in place legal and policy framework for PPPs, for them to really attract PPPs and promote their development and to be more involved in the trade that we are talking about. So trade is really key in our work. In addition to that, we do a lot in tourism. Like we said, the natural resources are more on the agriculture side and on the tourism side. So our office tries to do a lot on tourism. We have different products. We help countries to develop tourism master plans first to know how to guide their step. We help them to measure the potential of tourism with tourism satellite account. This is a tool that helps you to know how tourism is contributing to your economy. We help them to that, and when you know that, then it gives you good information to provide strategic development of the sector by making the right investment. We also work on blue economy. Blue economy is extremely important. It provides, first of all, food. It provides sectors for economic activities such as fisheries, but more so also it provides maritime services, which are important for all the rest of the continent in order to trade and to access what they need to survive and to live a good life. So this is what we do. I would like to do two things, to give 1 second to the DG of Somalia to say what we are doing with, and also our expert here in tourism to provide and how we can help other countries.
Okay, Your Excellencies, it's a great pleasure for us to meet you today. And we are here for 4 days, starting from yesterday. We are here for the consultative meeting regarding the AFCFTA National Strategy Implementation and the PPP legal framework, as well as the World Trade Organization accession process, which is ECA is going to help us to develop all these documents, which we are really help Somalia develop this great regional integration, especially trade area. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, DG. A few words on tourism?
Yes, thank you very much. Our office has been supporting tourism, given that it's a key sector in Agenda 2063, one of the 5
work with the African Continental Tourism Strategy, the East African Community at the regional level within the East African Community Tourism Marketing Strategy. We have received several requests from member states
to support them to build or develop their capacity in tourism statistics. So accordingly, we've been working with a number of member states to develop tourism settled accounts. We started with Rwanda, did Kenya. We just finished Uganda. We are working with our colleagues from Southern African office to do the Namibia one. In addition, we also support member states to develop their tourism frameworks, and we've just recently received a request from Burundi to do their tourism master plan. And I also forgot to mention that Ethiopia would also like to have this capacity developed in terms of the tourism settled account. So we like that to support member states. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Just like to really thank the Senate delegation. I think we had some very interesting discussions over this last day, and the meeting's a 4-day meeting. It's kind of feedback in the direction we need to make sure that we get the right professional implementation strategy for this. So thank you to you and your counterparts for being available.
Thank you. I would like to thank the office and congratulate for your work, in particular to being available to support countries such as Somalia. I think we are very encouraged with the efforts that the Somalia government is doing with the view to integrating the mainstream of the continent, the economy, and otherwise. You have quite a lot of significant resources. You're very strategically well located to serve the entire continent as a maritime route, as a source of renewable energy, and so on and so forth. So I think the conversations that you've initiated with my colleagues in the Office for Eastern Africa into understanding what are the challenges, but more importantly, the opportunities in integrating this trade regime are really very much welcome. Thank you for your testimony. Look forward to seeing you playing a much important and active role in Africa's economy and trade, of course. Thank you very much. Yeah, good. Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah. So, how are you?
Do you think you're going to have time to meet maybe tomorrow with the delegation?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll receive the contact. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And this is the technology booth. Since we have 3 booths, I'll try to be a bit quick, but we have showcased in particular our work on the coding camps. We've done 6 coding camps starting in 2020. So we've done Ethiopia, Guinea, Cameroon, Tanzania, Namibia, and Senegal. So these are the 6 coding camps. And we've also showcased the cybersecurity center that we are working on, particularly around the summit that we had on cybersecurity in Lomé. And we have also been showcasing the work on artificial intelligence, particularly the regional center on artificial intelligence in Brazzaville, and the work on the digital ID in Ethiopia, which has started already the rollout of the national digital ID program. So these are just some of the highlights. There are a number of other areas that we could not cover necessarily all of it in the booth, but that we wanted to emphasize. But I will let Maktar go into a bit more detail on some of the other issues that I may not have touched on.
Okay, thank you. For the coding camp, it is to focus on the skills of our young generation. Now we have reached a number of 25,000 young girls aged from 12 to 25 years trained in digital skills. The particularity it is we have also people with impaired and people with disability trained during this coding camp. It is one of the key programs on the coding camp. On the digital ID, as you say, we roll out the digital ID project in Ethiopia. As of today, we have 1.4 million registered in the database, and the target it is to have for next year 25 million of Ethiopian register for digital ID. Another project also it is a digital ID in Nigeria to show how we can use the database on digital ID to develop some key service in social activity, business service, and also in other area. It is one of the key projects. On cybersecurity also, we have the establishment of the Center of Cybersecurity in Lomé. As you know, cybersecurity is a big challenge and remains a challenge for the continent, and why we are putting this cybersecurity center to boost the cooperation between African member states on cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is not only for one country, it's for all African and all for the world, and why it is the importance of the cyber security. Another point, we have also several publications on a digital payment system, mobile money, and also on science, technology, and innovation, as well as on how to use digital technology to improve economic growth. We launched also several publications on cybersecurity, the cybersecurity model law for Africa, as well as the report on cybersecurity in the 4th industrial revolution. It is very important because it's the first time we develop an indicator to measure the correlation between cybersecurity and the GDP and internet access and the GDP. It is the first time we focus on 40 countries in Africa. let's go for the next, I think. Yeah.
Yes, this is covering the work of the Africa Climate Policy Center, and we've been focusing a lot of our work on the delivering climate resilient development policies in Africa. This has been particularly on nationally determined contributions. So we have been supporting recently Southern African countries, in particular Eswatini, Namibia, and Zimbabwe. Did I get that right, Linus? Yeah. So, and we have the SDG 7 initiative working with the private sector division to channel investments into renewable energy. And at COP27, you witnessed the signing of Zimbabwe for investment in the solar sector. We have the work on the Green Legacy Initiative, where we have been supporting Ethiopia's policy aspects around the green legacy, and also the targeting of the planting, particularly to protect water courses. We've also supported the climate, land, energy, and water systems, the Climate Research for Development, which is training African researchers to be involved, for example, on the IPCC reports, so that we can increase the number of African researchers that are cited in the context of climate change. And we've supported the African Group of Negotiators, partly by providing them with technical support on key issues such as financing, but also training young negotiators. And a large number of the young negotiators who are at COP27 were trained through EDEP. So it's a program led by ACPC, but delivered by EDEP. And we've also delivered in the Climate Resilient Investment Facility, which is about strengthening African institutions, particularly to support private sector investment in climate resilience. I think we are short on time, so I won't go into too much more detail, but maybe I just ask if, Linus, you have one or two things you want to say quickly.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, JP. Just to say is that we also had this particular one about convening spaces is extremely important because ECA has been central to shaping the narrative on the global climate negotiations. And we do support to the negotiators. You heard about losses and damages at the COP. That was starting from COP19 when the ACPC did the report that the African Group of Negotiators took to the COP. And now we see that COP27 has resulted in the establishment of a fund for losses and damages. And that actually is traced back to the work that ACPC did. And of course, yes, you were at the COP27. You also saw the Africa Pavilion and the convening that we did there. And this is extremely important because ECA is the technical arm of that tripartite with the AU and the African Development Bank and AUDA NEPAD. So this is just some of the works. And of course, taking the space is also to, we will be glad in Ngone, you know, we are coming to Niamey with the Africa Climate Talks, together with the African Center for Meteorological Applications, AGMAD, which is an ECA creation. So all of this is linking back to ECA and to the work that ACP is doing. So we're very grateful. So thank you.
We have one last, we have, yes. So very sorry. Yes, we know you are short on time. Here we are showcasing some of the green and blue economy actions, particularly on voluntary national and local reviews. On the voluntary local reviews, we particularly developed guidelines, which are one of the key publications being used. On the liquidity and sustainability facility, this we have worked with Afrexim Bank, but also MGD. And we had the first, so here there is actually a video which explains how the LSF works. And there was the first transaction which was undertaken just before COP27, where there were $100 million worth of bonds on the secondary market, which were repurchased and then resold by the Citibank Group. And that was bonds from Egypt, Angola, and Kenya. And I think that's the very quick summary that we can highlight because I know you're on time. So I think we can end there. But just to Becca, Ling, just to make sure that the ES can recognize your contributions and your work.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you,
So I would like to, I would like to use this opportunity to once again congratulate the Technology, Climate Change and Natural Resources Division for the wonderful work that you are doing to support Africa in addressing these serious challenges of climate change and in making, more importantly, in making climate change as an opportunity, as some of the instruments that you are deploying are demonstrating. The carbon credit markets, the forthcoming Africa Business Forum in developing carbon credit markets in Africa. This is really trying to demonstrate to our member states that whilst it's important to invest in reducing the impacts of climate change, but it also offers opportunity. So congratulations for your work. Very proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
yes, we have the last one, Edith.
Okay.
Our last booth.
Is that right?
Yes.
I thought you had the last.
Welcome to the Edith booth.
On va le faire. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, yes. Colleagues, we speak about Africa's development, Africa's future. We speak about the resources of ECA, of Africa. And for us, the most valuable resource is the human resource of the continent. And this gives us a rationale for the mandate and work of EDEP as the training arm of ECA and as the part of ECA that builds capacity of African member states. We are also convinced that the main wealth of ECA, and that's why we are very happy to be here with you actually during this fair, is ECA staff and ECA people. And that's why I have come with a big team from EDEP. So we have Thierry, Flavia, Mamadou, Paulette, Mamadou, Salimata, and Benoit. And I hope that you will visit, and of course, our main ally. And I hope that you will have time actually to visit the booth later on, because we have prepared for you what we call EDEP Voices, which represent how our colleagues see Africa's future. Now, as I said yesterday, and I want to be consistent with myself, I don't want to be the one visible. I want my colleagues to present the booth. And you know that I'm also fighting for multilingualism. So, la première personne qui va parler en français et va vous présenter le booth. Paulette.
Merci. Alors, depuis ce matin, j'entends que l'anglais. Les francophones, levez la main. Au moins, vous êtes servis. Alors, on peut dire que l'IDEP, c'est la division de la formation de la CEA, qui est chargée de tout ce qui est formation pour le développement de l'Afrique. Mais pour suivre la vision de la CEA et des Nations Unies, on présente deux grands projets aujourd'hui, qui est le développement des femmes, la capacitation des femmes, mais également des jeunes. Donc là, on est en train de former les femmes pour avoir des femmes leaders et beaucoup de femmes leaders en Afrique. Les résultats sont là. Il y a également, parce qu'on forme, mais aussi on cherche à avoir un retour. Et de ce côté, vous avez l'impact de la formation des femmes sur le continent. Voilà, les témoignages sont là concernant les femmes. Vous pourrez avoir toutes les informations en scannant les codes QR qui sont là présentés. Deuxième grand projet, pour toujours suivre la vision de la CEA et des Nations Unies, c'est la formation des jeunes. Donc cette année, il a été mis en exergue une formation concernant les jeunes économistes africains pour vraiment supporter le développement de l'Afrique. Et pour ajouter autre chose, pour la formation, on a toujours besoin d'avoir de la documentation. Et le mal de l'Afrique, c'est de pouvoir générer de la documentation pour ces chercheurs. Alors, l'IDEP a mis en place une bibliothèque numérique de tout ce qui est planification depuis les indépendances jusqu'à maintenant. Et serait très aussi important que les économistes, les planificateurs puissent visiter cette bibliothèque numérique. Parce que beaucoup de choses ont été faites et concernant la planification. Donc, aux planificateurs d'aujourd'hui, de voir ce qui a été fait dans le passé pour mieux planifier le développement de l'Afrique.
Merci, Paulette. Do we have the time to say the same thing in English, or are you in a hurry?
So, as Karima and Pauline has indicated, EDAP plays an important role in building capacity across the continent. Some of the leading policymakers on the continent have passed through EDAP. They were provided with an opportunity to learn how to improve planning, how to promote development planning. And I'd like to once again recognize the work that we are doing, especially in the context of the challenges of tomorrow, how you could help Africa to understand better how to respond to those challenges. Here I'm talking about building capacities in predictable analysis, foresight analysis, the future analysis. So to say that you have work to do for 50 years or more to come. Thank you very much et merci beaucoup pour votre discussion sur le travail que l'EDEP fait au niveau de la CA.
Thank you very much, and I hope the resources will follow, of course.
Absolutely. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank
Merci
you.
beaucoup.
Thank you.
Obrigada.
Okay. Merci. Merci à tous. Merci de venir. Okay. Thank you. Merci. Okay. Merci. Good. Thank you. Thierry.
Come, please. We want to see you more. Thank you.